Hello everyone and welcome back to Lucky Loaders 15, where I'll be giving you 6 of my best tips for tomorrow's racing. Before we get stuck into those, just got a couple of announcements to make. First of all, I am now back on my website writing blogs again, something that I did last year for a while. I wrote a dozen or so, but I'm now back on there and in my latest blog, and it's something I'm going to do regularly, probably twice a week. I'm going to do eye catchers, probably like I said, twice a week for like the last few days of racing. So I've done one today, and also as well I'll probably do one on Monday, reflecting on the weekend, look at some of the horses that caught my eye. And if you want to go and check those out, go to my website and you can click the link in the description box below to that blog post. It's www.chrisloaderracing.co.uk, and if you click on the blog section you'll always see my most recent blog. So if you want to read that, go and check it out. There's quite a few horses in there that caught my eye this week, some that won, also as well some that didn't win but maybe ran on really strongly, or I thought maybe were unlucky in the race. So yeah, I think some of those are definitely going to be worth sticking into your tracker. I actually don't use a tracker personally. I've got a photographic memory and I can pretty much remember all the horses that I see, and as soon as I see their name in the race card it will just spring to mind. But for those who don't have a photographic memory and you'd like to use a tracker, definitely go and stick them in, because I think they'll do you some favours later on this season. So that's that. Also as well, the other announcement is that there's going to be no Sunday video. There's not really been a Sunday video over the last few weeks. That's just because I'm really busy now on Saturday nights, so I just don't have time to do them. But I still will be paying attention to the racing on Sunday, but there won't be a video until Sunday evening, where we'll be covering Monday's tips. So yeah, that's when my next video is going to be. And also as well, just quickly recapping on our selections today, in the end we just come out with a small loss. If you were doing to a £1 stake, we would have lost 20p, so we pretty much lost nothing. That was because the Steward, that was our only profitable selection, got the each way money, advertised as my long shot at 9-1 last night, was well gambled on in the end, was vying for favouritism for much of the day. I think it went off 9-2 in the end, final SP, but still nevertheless ran a respectable race to finish in 3rd place. And then our other selection that did run for us today was Talking Pictures TV. Probably just found the track, to be honest with you, a little bit sharp, but ran respectably to finish in 3rd place against Black Squirrel, who used to be with Warren Greatorex, I believe. So he was maybe dangerous on a workable handicap mark for his new trainer Henry Hogarth. But yeah, unfortunately Talking Pictures TV couldn't capitalise on her handicap mark that she was still able to run off. So yeah, that was disappointing there. And then our nap became a non-runner because Sligo abandoned their last few races due to false ground, something that's happened a few times this week. Yarmouth, Hamilton, now Sligo, it's just starting to come in now. So yeah, that was a bit frustrating there, but in the end, yeah, it's just one of those days where we pretty much were level, but we just did come out with a small loss. So yeah, it's not been the greatest day today. Been a good week though on the whole. We had a good day when we had our 8-1 win in Nap earlier in the week. That was Tuesday, I think. God, this week's flown by. But yeah, it's not been a bad week for us. We've had a few winners along the way, and fingers crossed we can have some more at the weekend. So let's get straight into the tips. And we're going to be starting with my long shot tomorrow, which runs in the 205 at Haydock, the Dick Hearn listed stakes. Now I think you can have an each way bet in here because Voracious has taken up so much of the market. You've got 9 runners and she's 4-5 odds on, and then the next best is 6-1. So I think it's a great one to have an each way stab at, especially as well if Voracious fails to deliver. Now the one I'm going to take a chance on here is Posted for Hollie Doyle and Richard Hannon. Now Hollie Doyle, she's been riding very well this week, had a treble at Lingfield earlier in the week, a double at Yarmouth, and she's not really ridden for Richard Hannon, which is quite interesting that much recently. She was riding a lot for him a couple of seasons ago, but she seems to be riding less for him. But it's interesting that they've booked her for Posted. Now this horse Posted is currently 25-1 each way. Going to recommend each way as my long shot tomorrow. But this horse, it's been running respectably, and I think it's definitely capable of making the frame in a race of this nature. Finished 5th at Pontefract last time, and probably the track didn't suit that day. And the form's worked out not too bad from that race. And I think going on a stiffer track like Haydock would really suit her. She won at Salisbury and at Newmarket last year when she was running on really quick ground. And that seemed to really suit her. She also as well came into her own. She took a few runs to get fit. And I think that's exactly the kind of campaign she's had this year. Now, like I said, there's a few other fillies in here that you can make cases for. There's a couple of 3-year-olds that have nice claims, but I think Posted is a little bit of a big price here. And off a rating of 95, I think she's slightly better than that. She reminds me of a filly last year. I can't remember the name of the horse. It might have been Time Charter, possibly. But the Hannons had a similar horse in these colours last year. That was a horse that progressed from the handicaps and then was mixing it in Group 3s and Group 2s over in France and ran respectably. So Posted for me at 25 to 1 tomorrow is a big price, but yeah, I think it's definitely worth a small stakes each way. Richard Hannon, he's been doing well. His horses have been running a little bit better of late, and I think Posted at a price tomorrow, she's definitely an interesting contender going on a track like Haydock, which I think will suit. She's got the quick ground in her favour as well. And like I said, with the 9 runners, if Voracious fails to perform, you're definitely looking at a fair each way bet in that, because like I said, it's 6 to 1 bar the fields other than Voracious. So yeah, definitely if you don't fancy Posted, have a look at another selection. But for me, Posted, you know, it was a fair price at 25 to 1, and I think she's very capable of making the frame. We then go to the 250 at Newmarket, and I'm going to recommend a win-only bet here for Thank You Next for Sean Levey and Richard Hannon, another Richard Hannon horse. Now, you might remember during Glorious Goodwood week, we put up a horse of Hannon's in a nursery called Mark of the Man. And this horse just reminds me of that horse, a horse that's slowly progressing and still could have a bit more to come. Now, he's off a mark of 78, and he finished 3rd in the nursery at Goodwood, where probably he just needed a little bit further. He got a bit outpaced at one stage, but he stuck to his task well. But that was a good level, because Zamani had been running in some really good maiden contests where a group form had come out of those races. A lot of those horses have been doing really well in the group races for 2-year-olds since then, and he was well handicapped off his mark on that form. And the second place horse, Perotto, for Marcus Tregonin, had some good form going into that as well, and he's actually subsequently boosted that form by winning at Sandown today. So Thank You Next, I think he's got a bit more to come stepping up in trip tomorrow, going up to 7 furlongs, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if he's a little bit better than his mark of 78. He's a typical 2-year-old that Richard Hannon seems to get his hands on and does really well in nurseries, and at 13 to 2, I think that's a big price there. And I'm not going to recommend an each way bet. I expect this horse to be there or thereabouts, and I'm going to recommend a win only bet. So for me, Thank You Next, I'll be disappointed if he couldn't go close, and I think he's got a good chance at a fair price there. We then go to the 3 o'clock at Ascot, and we're going with my nap here with a horse called Kaloor for Jim Crowley and David Minutier. You can currently back this horse at 4 to 1. Now, we actually put this horse last time when he tackled the stamina trips for the first time in his career. He'd been running pretty much over 1 mile and 2 and 1 mile and 4, and he probably just found it a little bit short for him, and he finally went up to 1 mile and 6, and he definitely showed that he's capable and he has lots of untapped potential over staying trips. He was really unlucky at Sandown because he was in a pocket, and then he had to get switched out wide in the last 2 furlongs, and he was the fastest horse, finishing on really strongly, and even after he passed the line, you know, it was taking a while to pull up, and I think he's got lots and lots of untapped potential, and going up in trip. He was previously raced with Brian Meehan, but he's now moved to David Minutier, whose horse has been running a lot better of late. A couple of weeks ago, I think they had a treble at Sandown, and his horses have been making the frame or running a little bit better than they were previously. And this Kaloor, like I said, he's a horse. I think if they hold him up tomorrow, there's a couple of horses that like to get on with things in here. I think he could be coming with a late run, and off a mark of 88, the same mark he raced when he finished 3rd at Sandown last time. I think he's got strong credentials, and the form of that race worked out okay because Hawke failed for Mark Johnston, went on to win at Glorious Goodwood last week. So the form's okay. He's off the same mark. He's got lots of untapped potential still. And at 4 to 1, I think that's a fair price. I know Australis represents the Caravan of Hope form, which obviously lots of you know I've got a soft spot for Caravan of Hope. Obviously put him up well before he won the Northumberland Plate to win a stay-in handicap. And I said he was the best handicapped horse in Britain. And obviously we want to see his form boosted. But I think Kaloor tomorrow is definitely the one they've all got to beat, in my opinion, and is dangerous and has got lots more to come. And at 4 to 1, I think that represents good value, and I think he'll go off potentially favourite, or he'll be there or thereabouts tomorrow. I could see him maybe going off a lot shorter than his price. I could see him going off maybe 5 to 2, 9 4, something like that. So for me, Kaloor, I think he's got quite a few things in his favour tomorrow, and for me, he's going to be my nap. We then go to Newmarket for an extra tip here in the 320 with a horse called Danilova for Will Buick and Charlie Appleby, 4-1. Going to recommend a win only bet. I'm not convinced by that Fly Miss Helen. She's far too short for me. I don't think her form amounts to much, but this horse Danilova I think is going to keep improving. Now this horse won second time out at a Newmarket last time over the course and distance, stayed on really strongly over 7 furlongs, beat a Gosden horse who I think is definitely going to be a good one in time. And actually the form from the debut runs worked out all right, because Charlie Appleby had the first 3 home that day, and the third horse, Nasha, went on to win a race at Lingfield the other day. So the form's okay from that one. I think this horse is going to be improving. Charlie Appleby as well as fillies, they haven't started quite as well as the colts with the juveniles. The fillies have needed probably a run or two just to get there. And I think Danilova tomorrow, with her course experience and ability at the trip, I think she's going to be the one they've all got to beat tomorrow. And I think a 4-1 represents good value. And I wouldn't be at all surprised actually if Fly Miss Helen is slightly weak in the betting for tomorrow, and this horse comes in for some more support. So for me, Danilova in the 320 at Newmarket, I think she's going to be the winner of the Sweet Solari Stakes, and I'm going to recommend her as a win-only bet. We then go to the 335 at Ascot, and I really fancy the chances here of Omnivega for Hayley Turner and David Simcock. Currently, you can back it at 5-1. Now, this horse has won his last 3 starts, and even though they have come on the weather, the form of the last runs really worked out well. Omnivega that day had to give £11 to a horse called Cepheus of Brian Meehan, and he went on to boost that form by winning a really impressive handicap at Glorious Goodwood last week. So the form has worked out really well. And this horse, Omnivega, he always just does enough to win, but I think he's still better than his mark of 85, and he has a lot more to come. Hayley Turner's booked as well for a low racing weight, and I think if this horse can get into a nice position, don't want to go towards front, held up in the midfield or out the back, I could see him coming with a late run. And even though he's got a lot more to offer on turf, and he's not really raced on it that much in his career, all weather form does tend to transfer over really well to Ascot, and I think he's got a good chance tomorrow. David Simcock hasn't been in the best of form of late. He hasn't had a winner in the last couple of weeks, but I think for me, Omnivega, he's a horse that can go well at any time, really, and there's a lot in his favour tomorrow. And I think at 5-1, he's still got more to come, and I'll be disappointed if he couldn't be there or thereabouts. So that's going to be my extra tip. We then go with the next best, which runs at Uttoxeter in the jumps card there in the evening. My only tip on the card there tomorrow, but I really think the Boola B here is well in still. Currently back at 3-1 for Tom Buckley, claiming 7 for Nigel Hawke. Now this horse absolutely was a comfortable winner at Market Raising last time. Held up at the back, but travelled really well into it and jumped really well. And the horse that day it beat was a horse of Tom Lacey's called Black Anthem. He was a solid yardstick, and the first 2 that day, the Boola B and Black Anthem, were like 18 lengths clear of the rest of the field. So definitely ran good races, both of them there. And the Black Anthem went on to win at Savile on his next start. So there's a strong form line to that race. And if you look at the form of this race tomorrow at Uttoxeter, there's not really a lot that stands out. And I think the Boola B's still got some untapped potential. Nigel Hawke's runners have been running well, and I'd be disappointed if this horse couldn't outstay them all. So for me, the Boola B, she's definitely got a lot more to offer over fences and over stern trips, and I think at 3-1, that's a fair bet there. So they're the 6 tips for tomorrow's race in action. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, @LuckyLoaders15 for more videos. If you want to follow me on Twitter, you can do, where my handle is @LuckyLoader15. And if you want to check out that website and check out the blog, the link will be in the description box below. It's www.chrisloaderracing.co.uk. So please gamble responsibly. Hopefully we can have some winners tomorrow, and we'll be seeing you soon.